Donald Trump's persecution and vilification of immigrants in the first 10 months of his term rivals Hitler's persecution of the Jews in his first 10 months. And in fact, in some ways, Trump exceeds Hitler. That's a headline from the website revcom.us. Go there to read the full article. We invoke the utter horror of Hitler's monstrous genocide of the Jewish people because that is the trajectory we are on right now with respect to immigrants. Either we recognize and act appropriately, or millions and millions of people will pay a price far beyond the already massive suffering inflicted by Trump. Hitler is infamous for the systematic murder of 6 million Jews in death camps. But the death camps didn't get set in motion until the early 1940s, 8 years after the Nazis seized full control in 1933. There was a process. Hitler began by blaming many of Germany's problems on the Jews. And from there, he began talking about two-legged rats, and Jews are poisoning the blood of the German people. Sound familiar? Once in power, Hitler's stormtroopers organized boycotts of Jewish businesses and harassed Jewish people on the streets. Step by step, they passed laws that targeted Jews. Again, sound familiar? No, it's not exactly the same. And in some ways, it's actually worse. For all the discrimination and slander and persecution that the Nazis brought down on the Jews, it wasn't until 1938, 5 years after coming to power, that the Nazis actually began the mass detention of Jews. On November 9th of that year, Hitler called on Germans to take revenge for the assassination of a German diplomat. The result was Kristallnacht, when Jewish businesses were attacked, often burned to the ground, when 91 Jewish people were killed by mobs and 30,000 were put in concentration camps, of whom 2,000 died. But note, that was 5 years after Hitler came to power. In just 10 months, Trump has already detained 300,000 immigrants, and he's driven nearly 1.5 million out of the country. Those detained are often held incommunicado in concentration camps, where 30 to 45 people share a single toilet without privacy and sleep head to toe on concrete floors. So Trump, in some ways, is outpacing Hitler, who didn't even begin to detain Jews for just being Jews until 5 years into his rule. And over the past 2 weeks, Trump's rhetoric and the repression against immigrant refugees from non-white countries has gone to a whole new level. Humanity has seen this movie before, way too many times. And we can't claim that we don't know where this can go. We know all too well. Yes, we should celebrate and join in the truly heroic resistance that has arisen in city after city to these deportations. We absolutely need to resist. But most of all, we need to defeat this monster, to drive it from power by pouring into the streets non-violently in our millions. To wait at this point for the elections, or to pin our hopes on the regime is melting down, amounts to accommodation with fascism. And as Bob Avakian has put it, accommodation means collaboration with monstrous and mounting tyranny and ongoing atrocities. Be in D.C. December 13th to surround the White House, then demanding Trump must go now. And make 2026 the year that you step up to another level in your resistance, because these fascists are not stepping down.